SoapBox News is brought to you by the Small Business Surgeon podcast and by Texas Media Foundry. Engineer your reality. Hello and welcome to this morning's episode of SoapBox News. My name is Samuel Smith.
I'm Nina Khashoggi.
All right, awesome. You got it right that time.
Hey.
That was like the fifth time we've done today's introduction. I'm quite pleased. It's going on. So, you got any big plans for the week?
Turkey Day.
Thanksgiving week, yeah, slow week. So we're going to pop out a couple of episodes of Soapbox for you guys to chew on while you're eating Thanksgiving dinner. And this one will be the first. What topics are we going to cover today?
Well, we got Hunter Biden's laptop.
Well, that'll take a whole show. So after Hunter Biden, what are we going to look at?
Let's see. I don't know if I have them in order exactly, but I know.
Probably do. It's something to do with them cutting up that foreign fella.
The Biden administration says Saudi prince has immunity in Khashoggi's trial.
That is a mess. They cut up this little journalist, put him in a suitcase. Yeah, not very nice.
No.
And now Biden's saying that that's allowed. So if you want to chop people up and put them in suitcases, all you have to do is have the appropriate amount of money. Is that not correct?
I guess so.
Awesome. I wonder how much I need to save for that. Okay, next item we're going to look at is...
Oh, man. How do we control weaponized robots?
I mean, would the batteries not go flat? Every time I've had a robot, it's just kind of buzzed for a minute and ultimately ended up in disappointment.
And yeah.
Yeah.
True. We'll see.
All right. So no robot jokes then.
I don't have any.
Okay. And then the last thing we're going to check out is Elon Musk reinstated the former President Trump's Twitter account. So we're going to go and get reactions from around the internet on that, especially what President Trump himself thinks. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's kind of funny that Elon turned it back on and everything that happened, but...
Well, he went from 0 followers to, what was it, 89 million?
80 and a half. Like it was almost like 80, it was like 84.5 or something.
That was 87.4 million followers in 2 days. Now, that's more followers than Joe Biden got votes for. Why don't we just have the elections on Twitter? Why don't we just press the button on that?
All right.
Who wants Donald Trump back? Press. No press.
No.
Like, it would be like I don't know, but we'll dig into that. All right, so this breaking news that has just started to come out over the weekend, all right. House Republicans, now that they've got control of the House, vow to investigate Biden and his family's business dealings. Nina, what do you recall about this laptop?
A lot of nudity with other underage. I think wasn't there some?
There's a lot to unpack here. I was just wanting to know what you knew about it before we went off the deep end. So
like how far do we want to go?
All the way.
Okay.
We're done. Last week we kind of rubbed around it a little bit, but
today we're going all in.
Fully in. Yeah. Balls too. Right. So this laptop, 2 weeks or so prior to the 2020 presidential election, the New York Post ran with this story about Hunter Biden leaving a laptop at a repair facility in 2016, and that laptop then being opened up by the fella that was there to repair it, and him discovering a whole lot of bad stuff on there, including email change with the president and the president's business dealings involved, including pictures of him smoking meth, including pictures of him with hookers, including pictures of him with quite young girls, and including some rather impressive pictures of his erect penis, I might add.
I see those.
Hunter's got he's got some weaponry. He put a direct TV remote control in the picture for scale. So that's what your president's kid's up to. Now, prior to the election, the Biden guys shut everything down. Everything. If you mention this laptop, you were a pariah, you were a conspiracy theorist. 51 spy secrecy agency leaders came out and said, no, this is Russian disinformation. And the New York Post hung in there around the story. And that was it. And so this story could well have swayed the election had it come out. In fact, I'm on CNN Politics now, because that's about as left-leaning as I can find. But if we go over to Fox News is running the story. And you want to talk left and right. This tweet here from Raheem Kassam, a journalist on Twitter, shows that it's CBS now that's breaking the news. So does it appear as though the stuff that was on Hunter Biden's laptop may be true?
It looks like it if MSM is getting after it finally.
So
Took them a while.
What are the implications of this kind of stuff? Because I'd like to pull out some of these standout stories of the laptop. The number one of them really being how Hunter Biden was using his ability to reach his father in influencing business deals and then taking a cut and paying his dad for those business deals. What are the implications of that, do you think, as far as the presidency goes?
As far as the presidency goes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because ultimately, if the laptop is true,
right,
that means that our president currently was participating in pay-to-play politics in all through the 2010s through 2016 while he was vice president.
Yep.
He was participating in pay-to-play, which first off is highly illegal, but second off, that means he's also probably still participating in it. If you can pay to play with a politician, that means you can own a politician for the right amount of money.
True.
The people that were paying to play with Hunter were Ukrainian and were Chinese. So this could legitimately mean that we have a president in office that has taken payments for favors from Ukrainian donors and from Chinese donors to the detriment of the American people. Does that sound about right?
Bruh, I think you got it.
What do we do with politicians that commit treason?
Like back in the old days and just
do a
public
now.
hanging? Like
right,
that
so
would probably be the best thing.
No,
so
go and look it up. Let's Google it right now. I'm going to DuckDuckGo it.
Okay.
What is the penalty for treason in the USA? There we go. Let's have a look. Oh, look, under Title 18, the penalty is death. Now, I'm not suggesting for a second that we go out and implement death on anybody that's committed treason against the United States. But what I'm saying is where there's smoke, there's generally fire, you know? And taking bribes from foreign entities to, like, what's the word? Influence domestic and foreign policies and get favors bought in the favor of the foreign country instead of that's what treason is, man. And no, I don't think we should freaking kill the president. That's silly. But I think that this laptop needs to be taken a whole lot more seriously than it is. And when we start to dig, there are several sites out here that are dedicated now to breaking this story. I mean, you can find it all over the internet now. This is the Western Journal. And the Western Journal is showing a study here down there that says, let me find it here, 17% of Biden voters wouldn't have voted for him had they known the contents of Hunter Biden's laptop. So not only, you see, did we have the possibility of treason being committed and covered up, it was covered up right at the crux of a general election where it was critical information that could have swayed the election back towards Donald Trump. And again, not suggesting that Trump would be the be-all and end-all president to end all presidents, but a 17% voter swing because of a news story that was intentionally covered up is very concerning.
Yeah.
And we know the story was intentionally covered up now because just a couple of months ago, Mark Zuckerberg went on Joe Rogan's podcast and explained how the FBI had asked him personally to censor stories on Facebook in the run-up to the election and how the FBI had assured him that this was a fake story. So I don't necessarily blame Facebook at this point either, do you?
No. There seems like there's a lot of little fires.
There's a whole lot of shit that doesn't quite add up. And this is the point of SoapBox. This is the whole point. We are intending here to build a platform over the next several months that allows podcasters, journalists, broadcasters a safe space where they won't be censored, so we can talk about this kind of stuff. If you talk about this on general websites, your traffic gets throttled, your views get throttled, your videos don't upload. I mean, we've been at it a couple of weeks, and a number of times, we've run into this stuff already. That's why we're building a platform. But for the FBI to be able to go to Facebook and say, hey, don't run this story, and for Facebook to shut it down completely. And not only that, Facebook banned the New York Post account. Twitter banned the New York Post account. So all these accounts that were talking about this story were shut down. So it wasn't that the journalists didn't want to tell you. It wasn't that the journalists didn't know what was going on. It's only that now, 2 years later, and you'll notice immediately after a critical election, this wasn't brought up 3 months ago. This was brought up immediately after the election, that the laptop turns out to be true. And for those of you that would like to know more about it, I seriously encourage you to go read about it. I'm not going to spend a full hour of this show showing you pictures of Hunter smoking meth and banging kids. I've seen the pictures. I've seen the edited, released, safe versions of the pictures. And there are some blurred out juveniles in there that shouldn't be in there. It's extremely concerning. And I hope now that the proper authorities have got a hold of this, and I hope the proper people are investigating, because it's just, you can see though, I've tried very clearly to use Twitter as a source. I've used CNN as a source. I've used Fox as a source. I've used CBS as a source. This is like, I don't want it to be left wing, right wing. I want it to be us right here in the middle, taking a look at what's going on everywhere. That's the whole point. But you can find, like right now, my screen is showing the National Pulse here. You can find all kinds of information. There's sources to Joe Rogan and Zuckerberg there, and there's every single one of these headlines is an article. This goes deep. And I thoroughly suggest that you'll read it yourself and make your own decisions and draw your own conclusions. There is still stuff in the news and in the press that is designed specifically to trigger dopamine, and people will release stories at certain times of the year in order to hide other stories and cover up other shit that shouldn't be seen. So this may very well be a play to distract us from something else. But I think you should definitely go and do your own reading into Hunter Biden. All right, that's enough of that.
Yeah.
What's the next article?
Oh, about Biden administration says that Saudi Crown Prince has immunity in Khashoggi's trial.
Who was Khashoggi?
He was a journalist, right?
He was, but I think we need to know a little bit more about him, because Khashoggi is a very famous name in Arabic. And let's take a look. Who was the journalist? Khashoggi. Let's take a look at who he was and who he was related to. So he was a Saudi Arabian journalist, poor fella. And he went to get a wedding license from the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, and he never left. And here you go. Amid news reports claiming
in the consulate, right?
Yep, he had been dismembered inside. An inspection of the consulate by Saudi Turkish officials took place. The Saudi government denied the death, but shifting explanations. The Attorney General eventually said the murder was premeditated, right? So you've got a journalist with, I'm sure that there's a relationship with the publisher, Khashoggi. I might have been wrong there. But we can look it up on here. I should look this up before the show so these guys don't have to see me scrolling through my screen. But essentially what's happened is Joe Biden, or the Biden administration, whoever's responsible, has said that the Saudi Crown Prince has immunity in the trial. And it's claimed that this is the fellow that ordered the killing. Now, I don't want to speculate too much, right? But if I'm having somebody killed inside of a consular building in another country, there's got to be some kind of heavy hand behind that order. I can't just call the British consulate and be like, "Oh, kill this journalist fella." No,
Right.
there has to be some kind of power behind that fucking phone call.
Yeah.
Like, and when you think about it, how many people have the power to call the Saudi Arabian embassy and say, "Oh, chop this fella up into bits when he arrives"? Probably very, very
Not
few.
many.
Probably a Saudi prince. If I'm a prince, oi, it's Prince Dave over here, chop this fella up. Yes, Prince Dave, we listen to you. You see? That's how that would work. So the fact that you can pay money to kill somebody you don't like because they said bad shit about you and then be immune to that, I don't like that at all.
No.
I think that stinks. Got to look at why people like Khashoggi get killed, why people like Michael Hastings got ran headfirst into a tree, why people like Julian Assange are still in jail. I don't like this one bit. It's one of the reasons I've dedicated a huge part of my time to putting SoapBox together, is so that we can speak out about stuff like this. You know, you can't go around killing journalists. Not if, well, I guess you can. You just got to make enough money. There he is. And what's sad is, you know, since I started doing SoapBox, the more I look into this shit, the more I realize that the entire world operates like this. It operates on, let me get some money and you be quiet about it.
Right.
And that's how it all goes down. It doesn't matter if it's Hollywood. It doesn't matter if it's Saudi Arabia. It doesn't matter if it's local government. It doesn't matter. You know, I'm not going to name a single name whatsoever, but I know for a fact that local politicians can be bought for between $2,000 and $5,000. I know that for a fact, right? I smoke cigars with a lot of them. I know exactly what it takes to do this. And if you can buy a local politician for $5,000, I bet you anything, you can buy a national politician for $50,000. 50 grand's not that hard to get, is it? Get a little favor done. There you go. This is how it works. And unless, you know, we think of a better system and manage to implement it, that's always how it's going to work. It's cash for favors. It's how the Hunter Biden laptop worked. It's cash for favors. It's cash for access. And so, yeah, I think this is pretty shitty. I really do. If you've got a journalist that's doing his job, being chopped up into little pieces in his own bloody embassy. But again, he's in the embassy. So what powers do we have to go and arrest a prince? Can't arrest a prince, can you?
Is the embassy supposed to be your safe zone?
So, yeah.
For anybody?
Right. So, you know, are we going to... I mean, it's like Game of Thrones, isn't it? Like one guy chops up the other guy, so the other guy's buddies come back and chop up that one guy, and then his buddies chop up the other guy, and just everybody gets chopped up. It makes no fucking sense whatsoever to me. I am very disappointed in the fact that they've decided to give this fella immunity in this killing. But again, what jurisdiction does the United States have over a Saudi Arabian murdering another Saudi Arabian in a Saudi Arabian building in Turkey?
Right.
I don't think we've got any. I don't think we've got any jurisdiction. But I mean, that's tough. It basically means, it says right here in the paragraph, the American intelligence community concluded that the Crown Prince likely ordered the killing. The Saudi government initially denied involvement in Mr. Khashoggi's death, but later acknowledged government officials carried out the killing and said the Crown Prince wasn't personally involved. So, Nina, would you please go and shoot that journalist? I would still have a modicum of responsibility for asking you to do that, would I not? Like, the only way you can kill people inside of a government building using government employees is for the government to have given the order. So even though the Crown Prince wasn't personally involved, that looks a little bit fishy. But man, you know, unless he flies into the country and comes in the country and they arrest him on suspicion, but I don't know how you can have jurisdiction over a Saudi Arabian citizen killing a fella or ordering a fella to be killed in another country. A Saudi court has handed down final sentences to 8 low-ranking officials for their role in the killing, repealing death sentences after Mr. Khashoggi's eldest son pardoned them. That's because, knowing Saudi Arabia, they were told, you better kill this guy or we'll kill you. And that's probably why Mr. Khashoggi's son did pardon them. Man, isn't that a crazy ass world?
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew a lad crossed the cartel one time. He ended up chopped up in a suitcase too. All right. Anyway, moving on to the next article. Oh, this is even crazier. Do you watch Black Mirror? Did you see the episode where they had the robot dog?
No, I haven't seen that, but I mean the robot dogs and all of that stuff I've seen over the years. I mean, it's not anything new.
So the Guardian has come out with an article today. How can we control weaponized robots? And I think this might be an issue coming up here pretty soon because you got AI.
Right.
Right? You've already got robots that we know about that exist in public that if I throw a punch, they can move faster than that punch and get out of the way. You literally cannot hit them. Right? So at some point, they're going to have an AI robot that can move faster than you can shoot, which is going to be a problem. But in the Black Mirror episode, it showed how... Man, I can't believe this. It showed how a shitty government was controlling population using these robots and these killer robots. Now, because it's very easy to create a robot that'll do a specific task over and over and over. But as you look at the advent of AI and how complex those systems are getting, at what point does a human stop making decisions and a robot start pulling the trigger?
I mean, that's a tough one. That's what's so scary right now.
So what ways could you stop a killer robot?
I'm not a techie.
Obviously not put as much thought into this.
You would think about like shut it down, but I mean, if you watch some of these movies and stuff, they kind of take over. I mean, if that's the reality, I mean, if we're gonna, I mean, I don't know. I haven't dealt with them before, but
I'm thinking we go back to fishing nets and tridents. You know, get a fishing net, cover it in glue, and throw that at it. I don't know. You know, the whole RoboCop thing is very very worrying to me. I watched the reincarnation of RoboCop on Netflix a couple of months ago, and RoboCop's answer to everything is to shoot people. No, you know, like for real. That's their answer, to shoot people. Oh, this guy's dealing drugs. Shot, dead.
Well, think about it.
What if he was just dealing drugs to get some money to feed his kids so he could pay his light bill? Now he's dead. Now I got two kids to feed with no dad, all because RoboCop made a shitty decision.
Right, but remember, wasn't it in one of the Iron Mans where they had the robot soldiers, remember? And then they kind of took over, right? And then they're right.
I don't remember. How come Iron Man is like this movie franchise, but Iron Woman is sexist? It's a sexist command, isn't it? All right. Penny's slow today. No. RoboCop. Yeah, so the problem is with these things, right? They're already faster than us. They're already smarter than us. They've already got the facial recognition stuff down.
And they're just getting smarter and faster.
Yeah. So the problem with the robot stuff is that you can't stop it once you let it out of the box. Once you give AI control over something, it's just going to get better and better and better and better at it, because it's how it works. It's programmed to be constantly learning and constantly refining and constantly updating shit. But you've got stuff here where it says in this news story, a pickup truck parked on the side of the road exploded for no apparent reason. Sifted through the wreckage afterwards, Iranian security forces found the remains of a robotic machine gun with multiple cameras and computer-controlled mechanism to pull the trigger. Had this fella been killed by a robot? The New York Times revealed the robot machine gun was not fully autonomous. Instead, an assassin 1,000 kilometers away was fed images. So it's not necessarily robots, it's remote radio control warfare.
Yep.
Because for me, if you asked me to drive a tank, I'd be like, nah, I'm good. You know, because like when tanks blow up, they blow up, right?
Well, it's the same. I mean, you got all the drone. I mean, that's what they're controlling everything from.
If we've got drones flying around the battlefield, then why shouldn't we have remote controlled tanks driving on the battlefield? Why do we need tank drivers anymore? And then if you think about it, well, that's a remote controlled tank. Why don't I just map out a line for it to follow around my base and I put it on patrol? And then I go get 5 more. I put them on patrol and they all patrol around my base in a circle, right? Now all my soldiers have yellow RFID tags on, so when it looks at one of my soldiers, it can see it's yellow. But then if a soldier approaches without an RFID tag on, my tanks that are patrolling the base of the perimeter can engage that target and neutralize it. And
I like that idea.
That technology exists already.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we've got autonomous turrets and autonomous tanks circling our base and all that other shit. You know, it's like, can we just stop killing each other and be cool about shit? This is like, it's exhausting. I don't know if this is like just people trying to make us afraid of shit.
I don't know.
Like automated robot tanks, like it would suck. But when you look at war footage, and you know, we didn't cover Ukraine today, just honestly, because I'm tired of it. Like people keep dying. I saw a picture over the weekend of attacks in Kiev and dead bodies just laying in the street. And it's like, maybe we could maybe there's a different way to do this. Maybe there's some alternate energies we can tap into and stop being so dependent on oil and this old infrastructure shit, because there's just, if we put as much energy into like being cool and fixing problems as we did like being shitty and killing people, I think we get a lot further. Yeah, but then they'll say, well, they'll come and kill us. Oh, well, fuck, yeah. But not if we had all the cool shit. Like, but if you've not looked at the work that Boston Dynamics is doing, not only is it fascinating, but it's also very, very scary. Yeah. But they have these full on, look, that's the dog there. They've got a dog, and then they've got stand-ups as well. They've got ones that actually stand up and walk and can run and jump and do platform stuff. No, I haven't found it there. Just scrolling through.
That's the ones that look like on the Iron Man movies.
Yeah, but what happens when they come for you? You can't beat that.
You can't beat them. You're screwed.
You can't beat that. Like, so yeah. The only thing I can think of is nets. Just shoot sticky nets at them and watch them fall down. That's it. That's scary.
They probably have something in them that can disintegrate the net.
Don't even. Like they transform into some shit. All right, enough of this nonsense. What is the last article, the fun article for today? This is good, man. I like this. I like this a lot because Donald Trump, the tweeter-in-chief, has been reinstated to Twitter by Elon Musk, the fellow that bought it. Was reinstated over the weekend and almost crashed Twitter's servers as he picked up, how many?
87.4 million. Is that refreshed? Or
let me refresh it real quick.
That was earlier. Let's see.
Earlier today. Oh, it's got another 100,000 since I loaded the page earlier. So yeah, talk a little bit about that if you would.
I mean, I think it's funny. Elon reinstated him just to see what was going to happen. But that's crazy that almost 88 million people, in 24 hours?
Yeah. Was it yesterday he was reinstating him? Let's just go real quick and bring up Joe Biden's account. Can you tell me how many followers the president has?
36.4 million.
So 36.4 million in quite a few years of acquiring followers. And Trump comes in and within 2 days has run back up to 87.5 million followers. Now, I do want to remind you that Joe Biden won the popular vote in 2020 with 81 million votes. You got 81 million votes. Now, I'm not saying that your Twitter following should be representative of the number of votes you get. However, we got 81 million votes, 36 million followers. And then if we go look at Donald Trump, 87 million followers already. Have we been to Instagram?
Not lately.
I wonder how many followers Donald Trump has on Instagram. Real Donald Trump on Instagram, 23.4 million followers. And Joe Biden himself, 17 million followers. So if we've got 17, so again, President Trump's got about 20% more Twitter followers, maybe 25% more Twitter followers than Biden. He's got significantly more Twitter followers there. Like, so, but we wanted to take a second and go and listen to President Trump's response at being put back on Twitter by Elon. You'll take a listen to this. This is amazing. All right, I gotta unmute it.
You know, he's a character, and I tend to like characters, but he's smart. He did put up a poll, and I hear it's very overwhelming, very strong, but I have something called Trump. If you look, it's Trump Bone, but it's really fantastic truth.
Did he just say Trump Bone? Is that his OnlyFans?
I don't know. He's like, I something Trump
Bone?
And I'm like,
dude, that's, I gotta go subscribe to that. That looks kind of fun.
Social. And Truth Social is through the roof. It's doing phenomenally well. The press hates to talk about it, but it's doing phenomenally well. I think engagement is much better than it is with Twitter. And I'll be staying there, but I hear we're getting a big vote to also go back on Twitter. I don't see it because I don't see any reason for it. They have a lot of problems at Twitter. You see what's going on. It may make it, it may not make it, but the problems are incredible. The engagements are negative, and you have a lot of bots and you have a lot of fake accounts, which I think they should get on. But Truth Social has taken the place for a lot of people, and I don't see them going back onto Twitter.
Interesting. What do you think of that?
I mean, we just gotta wait a few days. He might surprise us, and we might get a happy Thanksgiving tweet.
Do you think the ego will let it slide? Because there's 87.5 million people right now have signed up and are just waiting for him to say something. What, in your opinion, what is the one thing that Donald Trump could tweet right now that would break the internet?
I mean, it'd probably be anything at this moment, I would think. I mean, bring up the Hunter Biden stuff, who knows? It could just be as simple as Happy Thanksgiving. It could probably blow up right now because the fact that if he tweets on there once,
yeah, it's true.
It means he's back, no matter what it is.
If I was Trump, I'd tweet, "Hey, I'm no longer on Twitter. Follow me on Truth Social." Oh, that's what I'd tweet. Like,
that's a good idea too.
You know, but 87 million people would crash the Truth Social servers. I would guarantee that. It would be a bad day for Truth Social, not a good day. But yeah, I think that Trump's going to end up snubbing Twitter. I think it'll be very, very, very difficult for him to stay off there because, you know, I don't have an ego nearly as big as Trump's, right? But if there was 87.5 million people waiting for me to post something, I might make it like a few days. I'm like, fuck it, I'm posting.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm like, Thanksgiving's around the corner. Maybe it'd be something as simple as that on like, Thanksgiving.
Subscribe to my newsletter.
Maybe.
Truth Social. I don't know, but I think that I think that Trump is doing the right thing, and then now because he hasn't posted, Elon has been trolling him, and the latest. This is not safe for work, by the way. So if you're at work, just minimize this shit. But the latest post from Elon, tempting Donald Trump to re-engage with Twitter. And that I'm not sure exactly what that meme means. I'm assured it's funny, but it was sent to me by my business partner Tex, who is running the cameras for today's show, and he assured me this would be funny. But yes, that is, I assure you, that's how Donald Trump feels right now, knowing there's 87.5 million people waiting to hear what he says. He's like, nope, I'm abstaining. This is not for me. So yeah. Look at that. What is that? Is that medieval brothel?
I guess so.
Goodness me.
Maybe a little anime in there, a little cross between.
No, I'm shutting that down before you get the wrong idea. All right. So I think that is going to do it for us today. If you are chilling out over Thanksgiving and you want something interesting to do, jump on an alternate search engine, jump on something that's not Google, and dig into this Hunter Biden laptop stuff, because now we know it's real. It gets a heck of a lot more interesting. What do you think?
No, I think it's true. I mean, we've been talking about it from over 2 years ago, so they're a little late on it, but at least it's coming up.
Hey, it would be nice to see some corrupt folks arrested,
Right.
But what's more than likely going to happen is the corrupt folks will just pay even more money to the corrupt folks investigating them, and
Just get swept away
down the road. Yeah, so that's the vote. If you've got enough money, you can do absolutely anything you want. And on that note, I think it's time to say goodbye and happy Thanksgiving.
Goodbye, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
Goodbye. We'll see you next week.
This is SoapBox News, brought to you by the Small Business Surgeon Podcast. Check it out on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you find your podcasts. And by Texas Media Foundry. Video production for transportation, industrial, small and large businesses all across the country. Check them out at txfoundry.com.